Rich is teaming up with the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem and the department to educate parents and children about the dangers of online predators. Rich is hosting an X-Space tonight at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern with Department of Homeland Security Special Agent Fetting, who previewed what to expect on X tonight.
To me, this is some of the most consequential information that families need to hear. As our families are more ingrained in the digital environment every day, we're going to cover everything from knowing the threats, what's happening in the online environment, what's happening in online games, what's happening in social media, how are bad actors and predators targeting our children from around the world, global entities that are basically going after our citizens in the United States. We're going to talk about the harmful threats to mental health and the screen time and the fact that how does exploitation happen, the permanency of data, the fact that, what our children are posting now has a permanency for the rest of their life. We're going to cover all of these topics, and we're going to do it through real life case examples, investigations we've worked. It's all very impactful.
You're going to show real-time text messages going back and forth between predators and kids, blurring out the names, of course, but showing how that dialogue progresses into the kid them becoming a victim.
Yep, we're going to use real evidence. We're going to show you guys real evidence so that you can see firsthand. Seeing is believing is something that we're big on. Everything is provable. These are all investigations and cases that we've worked.
Joining us now is the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. John Rich. John, thank you so much for hopping on with me live today to preview this. This is such an important topic, and I'm so glad that the Trump administration is trying to raise awareness. It happens so much more than you know. The numbers are staggering. I have had friends, particularly I remember one instance of a friend calling me last year in tears, because she realized and found out that her daughter had almost met with a predator she had met online. And this is a good family. You would not, she was in shock. She was in utter shock, John. So tell us about this initiative that you're teaming up with DHS to do.
So the numbers are beyond staggering. Last year alone, Emerald, there were 36 million tips that were called in from everything from parents to agencies to schools, reporting that a kid had been targeted by an online child sexually exploitive predator. 36 million in a year, so that's 3 million a month. And so when you think about how massive of a problem that is, to me, what needed to happen, at least something I could do just to try to put a dent in that, would be to hold an online discussion where parents and kids, and we've edited this where it's good for pretty much anybody 6th grade and up, could watch this tonight on X. It'll be a live stream, multi-camera video with a lot of information and a lot of really inside knowledge as to how these guys work. That would be the best way to arm parents and kids so they understand what they're looking at, and even more so, how to not put themselves in that position in the first place. The young lady you were just talking about, I can promise you, she's like most of the kids that become victims. They don't set out to do anything malicious or to do anything behind their parents' back. The way these predators approach them, for instance, at a video game setting, you may have a kid, or you think it's a kid online, that reaches out to your kid and says, "Hey, I like Minecraft too. Hey, I'll send you some free points or tokens. I think you're really cool." And then my son, if he was approaching my son, my 13-year-old son would say, "Oh man, that's great. Yeah, here's some coins for you." And they strike up a conversation, and little by little, they get into where they can profile these kids, find out where they live, find out their parents' names, their addresses, where they go to school. And then they lower the boom. Then they tell them, "Okay, I'm not really 13 years old. I'm a grown man in Germany," or wherever they might be. "Send me pictures of yourself nude. Or go take pictures of your parents' credit cards front and back and send them to me right now. And if you don't, I'm going to murder your whole family. I'm going to show up at your school and shoot the school up." I mean, they threaten them with bodily harm and even death to get them to do what it is they're telling them to do. And what's the kid supposed to do at that point? Only 2 choices: do what the predator says, and they fully believe it, or they go to their parents and say, "Hey, mom and dad, you're not going to believe what's happening on my phone right now. I'm so sorry." And most of the time, we know how kids are. They don't want to go to their parents. They feel like, my parents are going to get mad at me. I better do what this guy says. So tonight, this live stream is for parents and it is for kids ages 6th grade and up. This is the most crucial information I have ever been able to share, probably in my career on social media.
I plan to watch it. I think this is so helpful. I'm so glad that you're doing this. Even as savvy as I am, one thing that I realized in my friend's situation last year, she's extremely savvy as well. She's a smart cookie, and this caught her off guard, is we need to talk to our kids about it. I don't think, we have these conversations, particularly with the young kids, but you might be one of those parents too. And this is what happened to her. You're conscientious, right? Your kid isn't having an iPad unmonitored out of your sight and playing. You don't let that in your household, but they have friends and they see their friends at events and they see their friends in other situations. And maybe their friends' families don't have those same values, right? And that's what happened to her. It was at a friend's house. So you still need to, you might think, oh, my kids aren't on this technology because we have a technology blackout, but they are at schools, they go other places sometimes without you. So you need to know how to talk to them about how to counter this themselves. And that's what I'm looking for tonight.
Hey, let me throw this one at you, Emerald. Here's one that I didn't think of, and I bet you haven't either. And that is with the advent of AI. So moms and dads who are posting pictures of their kids on Facebook, Instagram, wherever. Look, my kid hit a home run. Look, my kid got an A on his report card. Look, it's his birthday, whatever it is. The predators go on there and they screenshot those pictures. And then they apply AI to those pictures and create videos of your kid. It looks just like your kid doing unspeakable things in a video. Then they send that video to your kid and they tell your kid, if you don't do XYZ, I'm going to post this video online for everybody to see. So I didn't think about that. Now, there aren't pictures of my kids online for a reason. I'm a guy that a lot of people know, and there's some wackos out there that approach me all the time. So I don't want you to know what my kids look like, but the average American parent is not thinking like that. And so there's all these angles that these bad guys take that have never dawned on parents that this is how they go at it. That's the point of the live stream tonight, is to hopefully have light bulb moment after light bulb moment for parents and kids to go, I never even thought of that. Hopefully when it's over, they go pick up their phones, their tablets, and they start making edits and corrections right then. They start locking down their cyber presence so predators just move on to somebody else who's not locked down. That's the point. Emerald, I don't know what more we can do just as civilians than what I'm doing tonight. But I will tell you, the conservative group in this country, they have had viral moment after viral moment on various political subjects and cultural subjects over the past several years. This should be a viral moment. Parents should take this live stream tonight, repost it, forward it, tell everybody you know to watch it. Create a viral moment. I just got a text from somebody in the Trump administration that told me, and I'm crossing my fingers hard for this, that President Trump may repost this live stream tonight. And if that happens, you're going to see millions and millions of parents become very aware of what's happening. I'm really praying that happens.
That would be great. And I know this is a particular concern of his. His administration the first time around was very focused on combating particularly child trafficking. They did a lot of big things. They made a dent in that. That got rolled back a lot in the last few years. So I know he's very focused on protecting our children. I would love to see that. I think he would. I just learned something about the AI. I also am conscientious about posting pictures of my children online. And I know you're like me, you're a proud parent. You'd love to, your son's a big baseball player. I know it'd be fun, and I know you're proud of him and love to post it, but we have to protect our children. Thank you for doing your part, John Rich. And as he said, you can tune in X at John Rich tonight, 7 p.m. Central Time. Thank you, John, again, and thanks for joining us to preview it for us today.
Thanks for helping me get the word out, Emerald. I appreciate you.
Anytime. You see why they call it a gaggle. This is literally White House reporters running when Trump comes calling. It's kind of amazing, isn't it? A gaggle of geese is exactly what they remind you of. Trump made an impromptu appearance right outside the White House today where he did take a few questions from reporters. Join us to tell us more about what's happening there at the White House, to touch on a couple other subjects as well is our very own Allison Steinberg. If we play the sound of that video, there's a reporter who's a lot like you know, someone a little more probably with our view of the mainstream media, just cackling and watching them as they ran to Trump. They hate him, but they really, really love him, Allison.
I know. They are so desperate. I mean, the thirst is real with them. It's so funny to see him run like that. But it was a very fun little impromptu briefing here at the White House. Trump made a surprise appearance, further cementing the fact that he really is the most transparent president in history. The reporters obviously couldn't wait to talk to him, but he made some updates with us about the latest on tariffs, how he is continuing to work through negotiations, specifically with China. It sounds like they're making excellent progress there. He seems very optimistic about that and seems to think that a deal will be reached soon. So good news as far as trade is concerned. He also, or it was also mentioned yesterday in the briefing, that 34 countries are actively working out deals as we speak. So that number continues to grow, and it looks like the art of the deal is working out as President Trump planned. We thought it might be a lot longer of a process, but it seems like things are actually happening rather quickly as far as this is concerned. So good news on that front.
You know who predicted this was Ed Dowd, who's been on the show several times, almost weekly since we've been talking tariffs. And he predicted that there would be many countries that would come to the table very quickly. And I think what helps with that is seeing what Trump did with Doge when he immediately came into office, right? He and Elon Musk, and there's some news on that front. I don't know if he got asked about that. I tried to listen to the gaggle as I could as I was taking phone calls from sources inside the Trump administration. But there's news, and I need to know from you if it's actually true, because apparently the first time this was reported, it wasn't exactly accurate. But there are news today that Elon Musk is stepping away from Doge. Is that confirmed?
It has not been confirmed by the White House, though it looks like it is pointing in that direction. Let's not forget that this was a special government employee job. Elon Musk and the Doge operation was a job that was ultimately set to expire after 130 days. So that date is approaching here at the end of May. So it's not too out of the realm of possibilities, I think, for this to be a true story. I know we got a little teaser about a month or so ago that was fake news. The White House did confirm that. But like I said, we are approaching that end date here at the end of May. So it sounds to me like Elon is going to be scaling back his time with Doge. This is being done in an effort to focus more on Tesla, because as we know, Tesla has been enduring a lot. Their stock price is down more than 40% this year, and they lost roughly $600 billion in market cap. So it sounds like Elon wants to return back to Tesla, though he did make it a mention to say that he will continue to help President Trump however he needs. He will still be working alongside Doge 1 to 2 days a week as this job comes to a close. And I think he's really set up the building blocks, put in place the building blocks and structure that is needed to eliminate the waste, fraud, and abuse within the government, which we know he's done a fantastic job. It's an estimated $160 billion in savings thus far. So he's done great work, and hopefully set up a system that can continue to monitor this so that we eliminate the waste, fraud, and abuse altogether.
Well, perhaps this frees him up to perhaps go help out the World Economic Forum, who is apparently investigating its now former chair, Klaus Schwab, the premier world supervillain. Is this not quite the turn of events? So the WEF opens a new probe into the founder, Klaus Schwab, as they name a new interim chair, which is Peter Brayback. Fascinating, right, Allison?
Very fascinating indeed. I find this very interesting because I think we always need to keep our eyes on the World Economic Forum and their nefarious plans for us. Just because Klaus Schwab is stepping down isn't necessarily good news, because his replacement is really no better. In fact, his replacement, this Peter Brayback, is the former Nestle CEO. He really looks like Terminator. Or maybe some like reptilian shapeshifter. I don't know. He's got some weird glass eye, and he wants to take away our water supply. Let's take a listen to a clip from him.
We must transform the way we think about water. By 2025, 1.8 billion people will be living in regions without enough water. Water scarcity is the greatest challenge we face today. And we need to start recognizing water as a precious resource. Therefore, water should be better managed, should be better valued, and has to be better preserved.
So, I mean, this guy literally wants to take away our water, which is actually really ironic because I looked into this, and Nestle, they profit billions of dollars bottling free water just in Michigan. So they have access to this water supply, obviously are making billions off of it, and then, you know, telling us that we will be dehydrated and be happy. So these people are psychotic, and I don't think that we can let our guard down just yet, just because Klaus Schwab is stepping down willingly.
You know what? In looking at the positives, at least they always make it pretty clear that they are a super villain. Like you said, the dude just looks like another villainous character out of, like, I don't know, a James Bond movie. So they telegraph to the world their bad intentions. And so at least for that, we can be thankful because we know what we're up against. Allison Steinberg, excellent reporting. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Emerald. Take care.
And more good news in the way of working against supervillains. The Trump administration has announced that they are opening a RICO case against 27 members or associates of Tren de Aragua. They have charged them in a RICO case. In the indictment filing, the Justice Department says that, quote, members and associates of the anti-Tren enterprise, which is a breakoff of some kind of spin-off, apparently, from Tren de Aragua, engaged in, among other activities, acts involving murder and assault, sex trafficking, human smuggling, trafficking substances, firearms trafficking, and robberies. The anti-Tren enterprise was almost exclusively comprised of former members of and associates of the Venezuelan transnational criminal organization Tren de Aragua, or TDA. At least 27 gang-banging cartel paramilitary forces are accused of unlawfully smuggling individuals that included girls from Venezuela and girls and women from Venezuela into the U.S. They sex trafficked what they called mutadas, that's the girls who had been unlawfully smuggled. They traffic controlled substances that include 2C, which is a sort of ketamine combination with other drugs substance. They also engaged in armed robberies. The DOJ says that they enforced this sex trafficking compliance among the mutadas by, among other things, threatening to kill them and their families. They assaulted them repeatedly, shot or killed mutadas, making good on their threats. And they tracked down and kidnapped any of those young ladies who tried to flee. Trump cannot deport these Venezuelans fast enough. We love images and videos like this because, as we know, they continue to cause problems in towns across America, particularly Chicago, where our next guest, Terry Newsom, has learned exclusively that Venezuelans were behind a recent robbery. And Terry joins us now. Terry, tell us about this latest. This is in Downers Grove, correct? What happened? I think we have some pictures too, right?
Yeah, it's in Downers Grove. That's where I'm from. My kids went to school there, and I coincidentally found out that my friend I knew since high school owns the business where the cameras were. His exterior cameras of his business were on the Venezuelan members. I don't know if they're Tren de Aragua, as they walk by. So we have access. Yeah, this is from his security cameras. The detectives called him first thing in the morning to get access, and I met him over there. And there were 6 men. There's an armed robbery of a woman in downtown Downers Grove. And if you remember, you were one of the first ones to cover it when I first confronted at that train station, which is right across the street from there, Tren de Aragua. Remember that one picture you had with them flashing the signs at me? This is the exact same location. Yeah. That's the train tracks right there where Tren de Aragua was being dropped off from the Mexican border into my community and taking the trains downtown Chicago. So they caught these guys. So far, what I was told is that they think they're almost all juveniles. They came from a further western suburb on the train station from Aurora, Illinois, which is further west. And don't confuse it with Aurora, Colorado. But there's the same problems in Aurora, Illinois that's going on in Aurora, Colorado. So they moved them from the city and out to the suburbs. And one of the big suburbs where they are at is in Aurora, Illinois.
I'll say Trump cannot get these people out of our country fast enough. What do you make of I think this is a good start that DOJ has charged at least 27 with this RICO conspiracy charges, because it really is. And we've explained in great detail on this show why they are a transnational criminal organization. They're essentially the paramilitary arm of the Venezuelan cartel. We are in a war, folks, with the Venezuelan cartel that has invaded our country. And look what it's done to your city. Terry. What is your reaction to the latest from the DOJ?
Well, I mean, I think it's great. What's very frustrating to me is they talk about giving them due process. Well, I was put on I was on a terrorist watch list because I went to a school board meeting and I was peacefully in DC. No one gave me due process. I was labeled as a terrorist, right? And they're worried about people that came into our country without due process. They weren't vetted. Now they want to keep them here or bring them back. And it's ridiculous. They can't get them out of here quick enough. Now the city of Chicago started what's called the One System Initiative. They're no longer counting the illegals anymore. The new arrivals, stop counting them as January. They are funding, for instance, they just got $290 million from the state of Illinois, and they say they're funding these homeless centers. They're 95% Venezuelans. It's not homeless centers. They're hiding. They're still lying to this day that they're spending the money on these illegal Venezuelans in Chicago. They shut the shelters down. They reopened some of them, and they're called the One System Initiative. And I got the new addresses, and I'll be going out to those new centers very soon, probably in the next week, to see if I could sneak in like I did last time.
What surprises me is considering the action that the Trump administration has taken against members of Tren de Aragua and the rhetoric coming out of the Trump administration of their future plans for the gang. I'm surprised they seem to be acting still with such boldness. Is it because Chicago is such a, left-leaning city that continues to coddle them, that they don't feel like they feel rather untouchable?
Yeah, they do, and they've been trained, coached by the city of Chicago, NGOs, universities. They're telling them what to do. I had, Ben Berquam and Dana from New York Post went out, all day. Both of them only had one arrest all day with 10 officers because they look through the windows as ICE is on the porch, unless they have a warrant to get in. They were taught, and they're looking at the ICE agents and the reporters standing on the front steps. Another new escalation is that, you've been covering the Tren de Aragua and the police reports, right? And initially we had the murders, the violent crime, the sex trafficking, and all that stuff. Now they escalated their crime. They moved to more sophisticated crime. They're kicking in doors with machine guns and masks, saying and this is in the police reports, we're Tren de Aragua. And they go through people's apartments and stuff, not just for robbery, which I think they're strong arming. I'm having an event on April 30th with Ben Berquam and Ann Vandersteel, and we're having I'm having Hispanic pastors from the inner city. I'm having some of the Chicago Red folks. What I learned from the Hispanic pastors is the Tren de Aragua now is charging protection in the Hispanic communities and the businesses, not just new businesses, not just Venezuelan businesses, but established businesses. So they're charging protection, street tax, no different than the mob did, about existing businesses to protect them from themselves. So they're getting more sophisticated. They're getting more organized. They're not out in the streets like they used to be throughout the city in the shelters. They're pushed out in the suburbs. They're going underground a little bit, but it's going to be really bad this summer. And I think we talked about it, right, last fall. It's going to be really bad this summer between the different gangs fighting over the control of the drug business between the Venezuelans and the African-American Chicago gangs.
Brought to you by the Biden administration. Look, I don't think it's really being reported yet that this was Venezuelans, right? This is exclusive information that you got directly from the police, correct?
Yeah, this has not been reported. I heard directly from this at the horse's mouth. These are Venezuelans.
Breaking.
There's 6 Venezuelans.
Right here on the Absolute Truth.
Yeah, none of the local papers said Venezuelans. There's 6 Venezuelans. My friend was told it. My friend called me right away. The police told him I was there. They're Venezuelans. They're not talking about it in the paper. And then these police officers' hands are tied. But I did reach out to Mr. Holman. I did reach out to his local guys, and they're following up on it. I texted them immediately. I sent them the same videos you have. Not sure what that means with respect. Will they release them? Will they let them know? Last time these minors got arrested in western suburbs stealing bikes, the police officers had to put them back on the train to go back downtown. They don't even know who they are. And then the community, all liberal, complained. They couldn't hold them. They still haven't charged these guys yet. I don't know what's going to happen. I hope they charge them. 3 of them were there with the gun doing the armed robbery. There were 6 of them total.
Yeah. Well, it's good to know that you flagged it for Tom Homan. Look, also breaking, I can't share the full details just yet, and this will make you sick, Terry. It's that the Venezuelans are contracting with Republican lobbyists. These are names you would know, at least one. Can't release it yet, to defend them and to sway the Trump administration.
Why?
Hard to believe, I know, and we'll have that for you soon. This is why you tune into Lindell TV. Thank you so much, Terry Newsom. Good to see you. Thanks for the great reporting.
Thank you.
And speaking of Lindell TV, remember that we are supported by your support of MyPillow. So go to mypillow.com. Take advantage of the mega sale right now, the mega spring sale. I don't know how long it's running. Mr. Lindell hasn't told me, but be sure to go there. Use your promo code TRUTH or call 800-944-5396, 800-944-5396. And of course, as always, be sure to use the promo code TRUTH. And that's how we can come back to you tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern. We'll be back with much more, especially what to expect in the forthcoming Russia talks over the weekend. As President Trump says, he's not happy with both sides. Well, we'll talk to one side tonight at 8 p.m. A Ukrainian representative will join us tonight. So be sure to tune back in. In the meantime, Vanessa Broussard will be with you after the break, where she's going to do a deep dive into the most recent announcement from the HHS Secretary, RFK Jr. So you want to stick around for that. That's it for me until 8 p.m. tonight, and that's the absolute truth.